If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard in Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place.
Hey guys, hey, shut up. Hey guys, sorry for the laughter. Welcome to another episode of the PWZ podcast, and we have a very special guest with us tonight. He is the most famous celebrity podcaster in Ghana.
This is true.
AJ Jannazzo, former Slambino. We'll talk about that too.
Hold on, is that true about Ghana?
Oh,
that's true.
Listen, we are the number. We were ranked 142 in Ghana. We were ranked 90 in Russia. We were ranked 42 in the Dominican, and 104 in Belgium this month on our podcast.
That's
now, let's clarify what we're talking about here. We're talking about the Breakfast Club podcast, the Briz Quiz. And you want to tell the people about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we got a podcast. It's called The Breakfast Club, not to be confused with The Breakfast Club, as you eat a donut there. It was fitting. I like it. The powdered one, no less. So it's Breakfast Club podcast, and the logo looks like the Bullet Club, but instead it's breakfast food instead. And that podcast, yeah, it's literally a podcast about nothing. We talk about wrestling. We talk about food. We talk about people. We talk about Blake Chadwick a lot, only because we know he doesn't listen.
Who?
Blake Chadwick.
I never heard of him.
Never heard of him. Send me a tape. We talk about him so much, but he never listens, so I do it on purpose because I know he'll never hear it. So every episode, every podcast, I take one shot at Blake in some form or fashion. He has no idea because he doesn't listen to it. So it's perfect.
Does he ever like working and say, "Oh, I heard the show. It was really great." Yeah. Does he do that?
Well, one day he texted me and said, "The podcast." That's all he wrote. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "I heard it." And I said, "What'd you hear?" And he did. He listened to it because he quoted what I said. It was about him, and I was like, "Oh no!" Yeah. But I met Blake Chadwick, who you had him on a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, but he wouldn't let us show his face.
Because he's too beautiful for podcast face casting. I met Blake Chadwick in, I don't even know what year it was, somewhere in the 2000s. I was living in Boca Raton, Florida, and so was he. And I had my neighbor who I grew up with was like, "Hey, this kid I go to school with, huge wrestling fan. I want you to meet him." So he takes me down to the FAU, Florida Atlantic University, a radio show that they were doing. And there was Blake Chadwick. I met him. I booked him, I think, on my next show just by meeting him that day. And we've been friends ever since. So, pretty cool.
He's a good guy. All jokes aside, Blake's a good dude. I like Blake a lot. He's a Mets fan, too. So.
Yeah, I liked having him on.
But, so you want to tell the people how they can check out the Breakfast Club podcast?
Yeah, so we're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on every major podcasting thing we have gotten on this year. We started out in April of 2020, and we were on just YouTube, and we ended up getting picked up by iTunes, Spotify. I don't even know the I listen to it on iTunes. But if you go to brizcliz.com, BRIZCLIZ.com, there's a podcast link, and then you literally can click what you want to listen to. It takes you right there. And then our merchandise is on there as well. We got shirts, tank tops, hats, hoodies. Now we got hoodies that we just got in this month. So pretty cool merchandise. If you like the Bullet Club and you like it's like a combination of both. So perfect.
And the ones with the Japanese print on them, I like those. Except you don't make them in my size 10X. So
Yeah, well, lose some weight there.
breakfast. I'm eating too much breakfast.
Diet or what?
I'm eating too much breakfast, dude. Now we're gonna get back to you and your career a little bit. Can we talk about some other current events going on in pro wrestling right now, and then we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk. Rumble last night. Thoughts on the Rumble in brief?
I loved it. I loved every match except the women's championship. I thought every other match was great. Both Rumbles were fantastic. I love the finish of both. I have not watched WWE in probably. I don't watch Raw. I don't watch SmackDown. Probably for most of the year last year, and I watched Rumble last night, and I loved every bit of it except for that one match.
You didn't have a problem with the 24/7 title being involved in the ladies' Rumble, because that bothered me a little bit.
No, I mean it's gimmicky. It's fine. It doesn't bother.
I love Truth. He's amazing, but I just
great.
thought it kind of took away from the Royal Rumble.
No, it was
I actually missed that part until Andy told me, because I think I was away from my television, so I'm glad I kind of missed that. But even though, if anybody could pull off the 24/7 title, it would be R-Truth, to get it over and make it actually worth something to be watching on WWE TV.
In breaking news, he defeated Peter Rosenberg to get it back earlier this evening. Thank God. Goodbye, Rosenberg.
That's funny. Well, I mean, we can only have one Bad Bunny and Peter Rosenberg, so we had to choose one. But I guess we're going with Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I guess so.
Right.
They can't get Snoop. He's over there on TNT, so they can't get Snoop. But
Bunny is a star. He's a mega musician.
Oh, he's huge.
Yeah.
He actually he did a song. He did a video with Ric Flair a couple years ago. It's the first time I ever heard of him. I'm like, who the hell's this Bad Bunny guy? So I guess he's got a thing for pro wrestling and pro wrestlers. I don't know.
He must. I don't know either. But pretty. The song is I don't understand the song. So.
Okay. I couldn't understand it either. I know people who spoke Spanish who didn't understand it. So go figure.
Yeah.
And then do you watch Ring of Honor at all, AJ?
I don't watch Ring of Honor. I watch AEW every Wednesday. I don't miss AEW. WWE, I'll see it on Twitter and Instagram, but I don't watch the shows. Like I'm watching tonight because last night was good. So I thought it was good. That's why I watched it. But I don't watch Ring of Honor, no.
I think Ring of Honor has been really good lately. Their TV show.
And Rick's got some breaking news today with Ring of Honor, right, Rick?
Not Jay White. I'm sorry, that was New Japan. Jonathan Gresham has re-signed with Ring of Honor as of today. Ring of Honor announced that today, so that's pretty awesome.
And since you mentioned Jay White, you might as well roll into
Well,
that.
he made his return to New Japan this morning.
So after quitting,
see that.
What's that?
I saw the Jay White thing this morning.
Yeah. Sorry, I mixed the two up.
WWE, but
are you a New Japan fan then?
I do watch New Japan. Yes.
Jay White's a special talent, man. I'd like to see him in the U.S. rings just to see how he'd fare. But WWE probably ruin him somehow.
Right.
Anything else you got, Rick? What else is on the news wire today?
Just the Rumble. Just talking about the Rumble. Right now, I don't have any other news. My
How'd
kids bothering me.
How do you feel about the booking of the Drew and Goldberg match? I thought it was booked perfectly. It was awesome.
I thought it was great. I thought if it went longer, obviously it was going to be, you knew kind of Drew win, and I thought it actually started off very well, and it was booked basically perfectly because Goldberg really can't go more than just a couple minutes, especially he looked like he got gassed pretty early too. So, and
well, a lot of people seem fearful that he was going to go over in the match.
Well, I mean, that's been what's happening every time he comes back, for the last couple of years. He just comes in and, wins the title in a couple minutes,
Yeah, I thought it was perfect. And he looks great for a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
What shape he's in. But no, that match was booked perfectly, for sure.
What do you think about Drew? Well, you said you haven't watched the product much at all, but I guess you saw it last night. What are your thoughts on Drew McIntyre? I think he's been a phenomenal champion in a tough time.
I think he's great. I always liked him, but I do think they keep the title on him until Mania, and he gets to work in front of a crowd would be nice. Hopefully, but it looks like they're doing something with him and Sheamus. So,
Yeah.
I like Drew. Always did. He's in great shape. So, and Bad Bunny just punched Morrison. This is ridiculous.
He's got the Money in the Bank case. He's probably gonna. Is he gonna run off with it and claim himself as the champion?
Cash it in. Why not?
I know. Why not? There's been so much BS surrounding like that Money in the Bank in the last year. I mean,
Yeah,
this was so ridiculous.
Yeah, they devalued that thing greatly, I think.
Yes.
But another comment on the Rumble last night, a really random comment, but I'm sure you worked shows with Carlito before. Dude, Carlito was jacked.
Yeah, for sure.
I've never seen him look like that before.
He was a monster, and I worked a show or two with him. Super nice guy, but he was jacked.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, he looked great. And he looked like he was doing really well in ring as well.
Yeah.
But he was really good. I wasn't surprised about that because one of the things I always look forward to in the Rumble is actually the surprises that they'll bring back, and that one had kind of leaked a couple hours early. So.
Yeah, and this year with COVID, I know a lot of guys might not be traveling, so it was probably a little tougher to find people to fill those spots. I'm surprised they didn't use more NXT guys, but
yeah.
Why get your young guys over?
Unfortunately, that's why we got the Hurricane. So.
Why get your young guys over? Why bother?
Okay, well, you know what? I'll tell you why. Because I've been having this discussion with a buddy of mine who was he was a worker too. I know guys are upset that the older guys, and I saw Ali made a tweet today about why not use the younger guys, because the younger guys aren't making the product. Just being honest, they're not making it interesting. Last night, what made me enjoy it was the older guys, not the younger guys. I give two craps about a Ricochet or Edge, Christian.
Wow.
Christian coming in the ring last night, the coolest moment ever. It was better than Edge winning.
I want to say I think a lot of it's because these guys don't have personalities anymore, and they're scripted so much. So a guy like Ricochet, I don't know if he can talk or not, but he's never given a chance to come out and be himself or be his own character. So I'm not going to invest in that.
Right, and what I call it plastic. They're all like plastic. They're all fake Barbie dolls. Robots, and it's not interesting. It's not, and especially for me, who was in the business, to watch a guy cut a promo and he's talking like he's literally reading off a piece of paper. That drives me insane. And but then you see a guy like I don't know what his Punisher Martinez. I don't know what his name is on WWE.
Damian Priest. I think he's great.
So he's great. But why is? Because he's not a product of them. He's a product of the indie. Right. So I watch him and I go, man, this guy would fit in the 90s and 2000s.
Right.
He would have. Matt Riddle. Right. Matt Riddle would fit in easily. When him and Daniel Bryan went at it last night,
that was amazing. Even I heard on the radio today, it was just like that moment, that minute or two that they were going at it, was amazing. And then all of a sudden, they were geeks again in a couple minutes. You know what I mean? Just going at it.
We need that feud.
Yeah, I think that after last night, I'm convinced that needs to be a match and on a major pay-per-view.
Right. I think they tonight they had the Lashley and Riddle match, which really wasn't a match, but I think that's another one that could be really awesome because they both have their background.
And I think I said this to you last night, Andy. If they let Lashley go like he was, saying Impact, WWE tones him down. When he was in Impact, he was really impressive. He was having good matches, cutting good promos. On Raw and WWE, he's just boring.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't look forward to watching him.
But he's got MVP, and we're talking with AJ Jannazzo from the Florida indie scene. He's very familiar with Antonio Banks.
Right.
And I think MVP is one of the better mouthpieces. And we've talked about the Hurt Business a million times. I mean, are they the four horsemen? By no means, but there's definitely something there, a lot of substance. And I think I'm hoping they're going to push Lashley to that next level. But since we brought up Montel Vontavious Porter, a.k.a. Antonio Banks, you must know him a little bit, huh?
Yeah, we I can't remember years, so I couldn't tell you what year it was, but we spent a good part of 2 to 3 years together. It was me, him, and my partner at the time, which was Ricky Vandal. We were the Vandals. I was Tommy Vandal. He was Ricky Vandal. MVP was Antonio Banks, and we traveled probably a good 2 years, 3 years together, almost every day. It was just us all the time. And sometimes there'd be a guy or two thrown in, but we spent a lot of time with him. And to see where he is now, I mean, to me, he's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. Like, you think about what he did in WWE and then going to New Japan, like, he's a Hall of Famer. But we spent a lot of time with him, personal time. Like, we know his background, know his history, heard all his stories. So it's pretty cool to see that now and see him on TV. You know, he won't return a phone call now, but whatever. So.
That's what I was going to say, because he seems like a real down-to-earth guy. And I say he's not.
No, he is. He is.
A little tougher to contact nowadays, huh?
On Instagram, he'll comment on my stuff sometimes, or if I comment, he'll comment back, and we send a message back and forth. But yeah, I mean, he's a busy guy. I don't blame him. I mean, I'm sure everybody wants to talk to him at some point.
Well, he's doing some production work there too, isn't he? One of the producers over there.
So that was really originally, I think, what he went there for, and then
right,
do a role. But they're like, I mean, he's great. I watched a couple things on Twitter of them and Instagram, and that's entertaining to me. Now, my fear is they're going to break them up, because that's what WWE does. They let things go, and it gets too good, and they go, we can't. It's too good. We've got to break it up. Let's put them somewhere else, and let's ruin something that's good that can go for years. Yet they let the New Day go for till it got old. To me, the New Day's old. Like, that was old news. That needed.
I'm sick. I'm tired of watching those guys as a group.
Freaking pancakes! Come on, man.
Yeah, but this is a point where it was like, I mean, Big E could be.
And I think he's definitely on that right trail now with the on the singles run. Yeah.
Though they keep kind of bringing him back to that New Day, and then it's like, I mean, I don't know.
It's just a bunch of goofy stuff. It's not like anything to take seriously. It's like they put them together for kids, and it's just kind of like, it's like eye rolling when you see them. You know what I mean? All together doing the goofy stuff.
Yeah.
Rick, you might be surprised to find this out too. If my research is correct, AJ was originally trained by a former WWE wrestler, a guy by the name of Rusty Brooks. Actually, IWCCW wrestler.
Wow. All right.
Yep.
Are you familiar with IWCCW? No. It was an organization run. Would you say the Northeast?
Pacific, New Jersey was the office.
Yeah, it was run by the Savoldi family, and it's quite popular in the New England area. And actually, with Angelo Savoldi, which was the promoter, actually ran certain buildings for McMahon back in the 80s until McMahon just said, forget it, I'm cutting you out and just getting the buildings myself instead of, they have like certain guys get the buildings. But he ended up forming an independent promotion that closed in 1995, and anybody went through that promotion at one point or another in the 80s into the 1995 when they closed. Even had Chris Cruz as a commentator.
A lot of the ECW guys came out.
Dreamer actually was a mainstay there for many years.
Who did you say? Chris Cruz?
Chris Cruz was a commentator. You don't like Chris Cruz?
I don't know, but I just know he gave Ring Warriors a lot of crap. And
I'm friends with him on Facebook. He's not fond of Howard Brody. I found out during that process.
Right. I was getting a payday. Don't for me.
Yeah. I watched it. I watched Ring Warriors. Actually, one of the guys all got uploaded to Amazon, and I enjoyed it personally. So.
It was okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
I got to ask you, since we brought up Ring Warriors, we talked to Blake Chadwick about it.
Right.
Blake seemed to hint at a possible return on a grander scale. Do you know anything about this?
I know nothing.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to.
I don't even wrestle anymore. I'm like retired.
We're going to get into that a little bit too, but we're going to have to get Howard Brody on here to kind of break it all down for us, Rick. What do you think?
I think you should.
Yeah, I definitely want to get him on. I have spoken to him, so it's just a matter of getting it set in stone.
Maybe we could find somebody who is close with him, maybe like Blake Chadwick or somebody could help us out.
Well, he probably won't answer the phone if Blake calls. But Howard will call me, and then I'll get off the phone, and 10 seconds later, Blake's texting me going on the phone with Howard, and I'm like, I just got off the phone with him, or vice versa. The same thing happens. So, yeah.
But all right, so the Ring Warrior stuff, you filmed all that stuff out in Vegas, didn't you?
Yeah. So there's been like a couple generations of Ring Warriors. The first was there was no real TV for it. They were kind of trying things out. That was down in South Florida. Then when he got the deal with WGN America, it was filmed in Las Vegas. We filmed in August and October of 2018, I think it was. And it was a couple days of filming, 2 days of filming or something like that for each time we went. And we filmed 6 episodes the first time, 6 episodes the second. It was cool, I will say, because knowing we were on WGN America, which any baseball fan, Andy, like yourself, the Cubs were on WGN. Like as a kid, I watched the Cubs on WGN, and when they said WGN, I was like, I kind of marked out. I was like, to watch Ryan Sandberg and Mark Grace on WGN. Like this is so cool. So that was really cool, and it was filmed in Vegas. And the wrestling, there was some good wrestling. There was not some good wrestling. There was a lot of guys. I mean, it probably could have been cut down a little bit, but there was some stars on there. Austin Aries was on there.
Was Brian Cage in there, if I remember correctly?
No, I don't think he was on.
I thought he was at least he was advertised at one point.
Lance Archer was there.
Yep.
Chase Stevens, the Naturals, I guess they were. Who else?
Glenn Gilberti.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Glenn was manager. Duh. Which was cool because Glenn's a nice guy. I mean, he was super nice to us, and it was cool.
Did he take it to
Arnie? Arnie was there.
Did Glenn take you to his club?
No. He told us we couldn't afford to go there, so.
You got to make pizza with him, and it was on WGN.
Now that was the coolest thing I think I've ever done. Down. Oh, did I get cut out?
Your face. There you go.
Okay. See raise it up. I only see your mouth and your hairy chest.
What?
There we go.
I think it's your computer. Stop looking at my hairy chest.
I know, right? You got him zipping up his jacket now. Look at this.
Rick, don't cut this out, Rick. This is good for the female demographic. Okay?
It is. Right. You guys, actually, when you call, I didn't realize it was 9:00. When you called, I was just finishing up my TikTok live. So I had to tell all my ladies on TikTok. I was like, I gotta do a podcast.
Let's talk about your TikTok career going on here.
Yeah, I didn't know adults use TikTok.
Okay, so I didn't know that either until November of 2019. A friend of mine who I work with said, "Hey, are you on TikTok?" And I said, "No, man, that's for my kids." And he goes, "No, you're missing the boat. If you're not on TikTok, you're missing the boat." I got on TikTok and I struggled to make videos. I didn't know what I was doing. Well, right. I got furloughed from work, from my shoot job. So I had 3 weeks where I was like, I got time on my hands. I posted a video that got 2 million views and went viral.
What?
And then it got shared. It ended up getting about 50 to 60 million views.
Holy shit, that's amazing.
And yeah, it was a car that a friend of mine sent me from Florida. And the car's bumper was like flapping. So I just put Busta Rhymes rapping to the car, and it went viral. Like within 2 minutes, I had like 200,000 views. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And next thing I know, it was like 1 million. I was like, within 24 hours, it hit 1 million views, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
That is insane.
But
Wow.
now I'm about to hit 58,000 followers on TikTok, and about 1 million likes total, and I've got 3 viral videos that are over 1 million views, and I've got plenty that are in the 300K, 500K range. So I post about 3 or 4 videos a day. I am more over on TikTok than I ever was in wrestling. That is for
Now, can you monetize TikTok yet, or is that?
Yes, you can. It's really hard. Their program to monetize is crappy, but when you go live, you can get people can give you money. So I make more off going live than off my videos. So like tonight, I was live and people come in and they just start throwing you money. It's all ladies, you know. I that's my demographic.
This is what we got to think about now, trying to get monetized. TikTok.
If you were a pro wrestler in 2020 during this pandemic, sitting home,
Right.
you didn't start TikTok, you're an idiot, because you would have kept yourself relevant, and you would have put yourself in a whole different spotlight of people who didn't know it. So when wrestlers are like, "Oh, I would never," you missed the boat. If you own a business, if you are an athlete and you don't have a TikTok, you're totally missing the boat. There's 550 million people on the app all over the world.
Wow.
Who's the dude you were doing videos with about a week ago? There was a dude you were doing videos with in your house.
So
and you guys are,
that's Ricky Vandal. He's my old tag team partner.
That was Ricky.
Yeah, we grew up together. We've known each other since, and then we started wrestling together. And he's come over with his wife and kid, and we still hang out today. 20-something years later.
So did you ever use that to like pick a girl up, at a bar? So, hey, I'm that TikTok guy with the Busta Rhymes video.
Well, it's funny because you say that I don't go out, so I don't go to bars, but I go to work, and all of a sudden, like during the summer, I was at work, and people would go, "Hey, I saw your TikTok," and I'm like, "What?" So when people at work started finding it, I was like, "How do you find it?" They're like, "You're all over the place." Well, I was on a conference call with like directors, like big wigs, and one of the directors goes, something about your TikTok and your YouTube page. And I'm like, my face just went, and I'm like, what? And he's like, you're on everybody in the company knows you have a TikTok page. Like, you're everywhere. I mean, it's like it's pretty wild, but I don't know.
Did you fear for that second they were going to tell you to take it down or anything?
I thought about that, and I still think about that today, that somebody's going to tell me to take it down, but I'm way too over on it. I'm so over. 58,000 followers. I didn't have 58,000 fans show up to wrestling.
You didn't have 58 fans show up at a lot of shows.
Right. $8.
I want to talk to you. I've talked to you before. I'm a big fan of the old school Florida Indies, Ron Nemi and IPW Hardcore. So let's talk about some of that now. How was it? Tell me some Ron Nemi stories, because that guy's like a Florida legend. I mean, people don't, if they don't know the name Ron Nemi, they don't know Florida wrestling.
He's the human tripod. You ever heard him be called that? That used to be his nickname.
Hold on.
We called him Pee Wee, but what is he on the Virgil level? Is he on the Virgil level?
I was gonna say, I thought I heard Lenny Poffo was a human tripod. I don't.
Who?
Lenny Poffo. That's what I heard. That's what Andy said, right? Or no?
They caught him in Memphis doing something with his mouth. Never mind.
There's kids listening. Probably not, but anyways.
Nobody's listening, but
well, that's true. That's true too.
Listening, I can't tell Ron Nemi stories.
No, I'm kidding. There's no kids.
We're trying to get the numbers up. So let's go with the little guy, Ron Nemi.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a Ron Nemi story. So Ron used to great guy, but we used to travel with a guy named Billy Fives as well.
Yes,
Billy was.
I remember that name.
Florida legend. Billy is like my wrestling dad. He took us in day one and like always took care of me. To this day, like he's just a good guy, right? When we would travel with Billy, Ron Nemi would always have our envelopes to pay us. No problem. Boom, boom, boom. Sometimes Billy could make it, and we'd go, and Ron would go, house is light. We don't have, I don't have any money. you could take a hot dog and a handshake, and I would. Oh, I'm getting cut off again. Am I back on? Somebody keeps calling.
And yeah, you're back. You're back.
So Ron would always he'd always be like, I don't have money. I would call Billy. Can you see me or not? I think it's just when it
you're right here down. There we go. There we go. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
When I would call Billy and say, Billy, hey, Ron tells us he doesn't have any money. 2 minutes later, Ron would come over with the envelopes and go, here you go. After he said, the house is light, and go. And to this day, Billy's always like, you always got paid, didn't you? I said, it's only if we called you, because Ron would always be like, Billy's not here, house is light. Yeah, always. Yeah. But he's a good dude. I still talk to him today.
Yeah, I remember, I'm not going to go into the whole story, but I remember going to visit family down in Crystal River, Florida. My sister was living, and you guys used to run the Armory down there. And she said, they got a local pro wrestling show. She said, why don't we get the kids and we'll all go. We'll get tickets. They're not wrestling fans like I am, but so I said, no. With all due respect, I said, oh, here we go. It's some Huckleberry Southern Wrestling. I see the flyer. No, but I see the flyer and I see Mike Quackenbush on the flyer. I see Jeff Peterson on the flyer, and I'm like, oh, this got to be legit. And dude, what a great show it was, man. Yeah. Albino, I met Albino that night.
Crazy son of a bee that guy is.
Can we talk Albino? Let's talk about Albino. Charles Cardwell there. Let's talk about him.
It was crazy. I saw him jump off of a U-Haul truck, like 20-something feet in the air, onto somebody. I thought he was dead. Yeah. Wow. Crazy guy. But that IPW was pretty wild. It was definitely an interesting time. I mean, the locker room, the after parties. I can't talk about that stuff. That would get us all. But it was pretty wild.
I want to say rest in peace, Shannon Rose. I met Shannon Rose that night.
Shannon, too. Good guy.
Any Shane twin stories?
Well, I think you sent me a Shane Twins match today. I saw.
Yes, I did.
We wrestled the Shane Twins for a year, pretty much once a month. Let me tell you something. Those guys were big, strong, and scary, but the easiest guys to work with. By far the easiest guy. We had such a good time working them. And if we wanted to do comedy, they would say, okay. If we wanted to brawl, okay. If we want to beat us up, whatever it was, they never said no. They were always like, yeah, let's do it.
Yep. I remember that card in Crystal River, they were working. You remember the Southern Posse?
Oh, yeah.
And the one dude had the hairiest back. Remember that dude?
Yeah.
And I remember I'm sitting there at that show. I'm in the front row, and the crowd's kind of, they're there, but they're not going nuts. And I start chanting, shave your back. And the Shane twins were in one of them, whoever was in the corner who wasn't in the ring, he was dying laughing. He had to put his head down in the turnbuckle. It was the best. But
we did a reunion show 2019. Yeah. So I got to see the Southern Posse, the Stains. We got to see everybody. It was pretty cool.
And were you there for the Jersey All Pro feud? Where they brought Loki down, and they kind of sent some guys up to. Who was that other guy? Justice? Was it Justice? The kid with the paint?
Yeah, I was around then. Yeah.
Justice was awesome too. He was kind of like their martial art high flyer kind of guy.
Because they sent Justice, Scoot Andrews, I think Billy Fives went, and maybe Cedric and Roderick Strong at the time. Cedric Strong was getting more over than Roderick. He was getting like Super 8 and all that, and now Roderick's on TV. So,
any Roderick Strong stories for us?
Yeah, I worked Roderick like 3 or 4 times. Always good, hard hitting, super nice. Yeah, I worked him. I've worked, those guys. He was always super cool. So,
yeah, I'm happy for his success. I remember when he came to Ring of Honor, I was like marking out because I followed him from IPW Hardcore. So yeah. And then he continued to move up the ranks. Did a little Impact, came back to Ring of Honor, and now look at him. So he's doing very well. Then you're part of a team at another point with another guy you came up with, the Slambinos. Can we talk about the Slambinos? Is that kind of a tough subject?
Look, we talk about. So the Slambinos was a brainchild of Howard Brody. So if you do have Howard on the show, make sure you say to him, Howard, that was the best idea you ever had, was the Slambinos character, because he's so proud of it. Howard's had some really bad ideas. This one was a good one. So Howard had this idea, and the original Slambinos was actually me, Francisco Ciazzo, and Big Vito. That was the original Slambinos. And Vito was managing. Oh, he was wrestling at the time, too. And then that was the first version. But then when we went to Vegas, kind of had a falling out with Vito. Like I did, Frankie did, everybody did. And it became me and Frankie. Then Glenn did. And then we had thrown a couple other people here and there. Tommy Perinelli was a Slambino at one point, whatever. But and then when we went to Vegas to do the tapings, that was like I felt we were able to be like I could be myself. The prior version of Slambino, I was being told what to do. It was like I was in WWE. You have to do this. You have to walk like this, tape your wrists like this, get in the ring like this, whatever. And
by who? Who's telling you that?
Well, so it was a combination, a couple. Like Howard had a vision and a thought, and it really was like it wasn't me. Like I like to joke and play around, and my vision of character, nothing like Howard. But then Vito was like, be yourself and be yourself, and then it kind of evolved into the role that I wanted it to be. Well, then when we went to Vegas, they were like, kind of be yourself. And Francisco Ciazzo started filming these promos that we were putting on Facebook once a week. It was called Slambino Sunday. Every Sunday there was a new video, and we would do these fun, and it was all comedy. It was funny because that's what I like. And when we got to Vegas, I was able to just be myself. Like the promos were the best part. The wrestling sucked. I'm not that good in the ring, or he's not that good in the ring. But the promos were great. Like the promos with me and him arguing and Glenn cutting us off like he was his father. Enough of you two. But I was able to be myself, which was cool. So, I would say this is probably dead. I don't think they'll come back. If it does, it'd probably be some different variation. I would do it again, but I really don't want to take bumps anymore. So I don't know.
Okay, how are things with you and Vito now?
I don't talk to Vito.
Okay.
At all.
And then how about you and Frankie? Is there any communication there?
Don't talk to Frankie at all either.
Gotcha. We'll leave it.
Yeah, leave it there. I'm not involved in the business anymore at all.
Now, you say you're not involved with the business anymore, but I know I've talked to you, and I know that you may not be on the card, but you do help some young guys down in South Carolina, right?
Right. Yeah, I don't mind helping those guys. They run a promotion called Pro Wrestling Turbo. It's TK Stark and Josh Powers.
Right.
I help them. I love those guys. I took a lot of road trips. A couple of years ago, I took them on the road with me. We went to Florida. I kind of just took them and brought them to shows and said, hey, use these guys. And they did. I like them as people. So, as I got older in wrestling, I started to, if I like you as a person, we're good. If I don't like you as a person, I don't care about wrestling. We're not good. So, they like you as a person, even though you're a Mexican. But, what?
Go ahead.
I like you, but
I'm probably watching TK from the old PWF days.
You didn't catch that?
I don't think he caught that.
No.
Catch it. What happened? It sounds like Rick is doing dishes over there. That's what I keep hearing.
It's doing dishes.
Yeah, there's
a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise.
There's no noise coming from here.
Now there's not.
Yeah, when you mute it, the noise goes away.
Okay.
Now there's not noise, but there was a couple minutes ago. Yeah, so I missed the whole thing.
Just doing dishes.
It wasn't over here. It might have been. My father's upstairs, so could have been him.
Now, what was it? All right, we'll cut this part out. But what was your little punchline there? What was your little joke?
Why would you cut it out? Keep it. That's the best.
I agree.
The shoot part.
Rick's anal about this stuff.
I do get anal, but he always laughs because once in a while you'll see my father walk by and.
But that's the bet, Rick. Let me tell you something. On my podcast, you don't know how many that things happen. We just keep it in there, and at the end, the next day, everybody goes, that was the best podcast because
That's
it's
what
real.
they remember. That's
People
what they remember.
real.
Right.
They don't want to see fake plastic.
There you go.
And-
I see. I like what you're saying about that fake plastic stuff when it comes to the wrestling business because it's understandable. I get it. You know, being a fan for almost 40 years, you know, I
Right.
get what you're saying. You know,
You know what the worst part about wrestling about WWE is
the
the entrance.
lights.
How everybody
Yes.
has to stop, do a pose,
Yes.
walk like a robot.
But
do
do you
another
remember in the 80s, everybody had some sort of animal with them or some BS? You know what I mean? And it's just like it's that's the whole stopping, posing. That's like a modernized version of stuff that we grew up with. It's like you can't get any pure. You know, it's not treated like a sport. That's why I prefer watching other organizations. I mean, I still do watch WWE because like a lot of talent that I've watched in the indies obviously is going to end up here at some point or another. So I do watch it because I become fans of a lot of these guys, but it's just so watered down at this point.
I thought you were
It's
going to
just
say that in relation to the Rumble, because one of the things that bothers me about the Rumble over the last, I don't know, 5 or 10 years is as soon as a new entrant comes in, everybody has to stop what they're doing and stare down the rampway and see who it is coming in. Like it takes the believability out of it, you know. But no, we're talking about Josh Powers and TK Stark.
Yeah.
Familiar with those guys from their days in the PWF, Steve Corino's promotion. Steve and Rob Fortin, good guys. You were the champion there for well over 200 days. That's where I met you. That's where I met you, dude.
You harassed me for 200 days.
Oh,
I believe that.
Brought you donuts and I took you out to a buffet. I mean, come on.
One of the best buffet, Casey's Buffet, right?
Yeah, you remember, yeah.
I don't get that.
Okay. But let's talk about the PWF experience a little bit, because again, I'm very familiar with that. Corino, I think, is finally gotten his due. He's finally got a job with the big office now. I was afraid that he was never going to get there, and you know, he's just such a great mind and such a positive dude.
Yeah. So kind of, I don't know if you ever know how this came about. So I went to Ring of Honor camp in, I don't remember what year it was. So I went to Ring of Honor camp in Philadelphia, spent 2 days there, and Steve, I was a huge Steve Corino fan as a kid. ECW, he was my favorite, like by far my favorite. Like I dyed my hair blonde. Like I wanted to be Steve Corino. And I went to the Ring of Honor camp, and after the camp, Steve pulled me to the side and he said, "Hey, here's my number. Like, I really like you. I want to use you at my promotion." I was like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, you know, and I was living in the Carolinas. So he was like, "Give me a call." So I shot him a text like a couple days later, and he said, "Hey, I got a show, you know, this date. You're booked." I'm like, "Cool." I show up, do a match. It was a battle royal. And my first time there, and I throw Zane Riley out, and they're handing me the belt. I'm like, "What?" And Steve's like, "You're the champion." That was it.
Wow.
And I had a really good showing at the Ring of Honor camp. I thought that I had a really good shot. Problem is, which is part of the wrestling problem with the wrestling business, is the pay your dues. It's the dumbest thing ever. They wanted me to keep showing up to shows on my own dime to show that I was dedicated. So I showed up. I went to Baltimore. I went to Philadelphia. I went, like, took off vacation time from work, showed up, set up the ring, did everything. And they're like, "You got to keep coming." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is like, I also have a real job and kids, and
Right.
like, they're going to use me or not." Like, my this is what I used to say. Would you ever show up, like, you want a job at McDonald's? Would you ever just show up to McDonald's for 2 months straight, not getting paid, making burgers in hopes of getting a job? No. Right? So why would I do that in the wrestling world? Like, I did my job interview. Either you're going to hire me or you're not going to hire me. I'm not going to sit here and be a clown and come every day. Whatever. So I didn't, you know, that didn't pan out because I didn't stick it out, which is fine. Whatever. But Steve gave me the opportunity. I won the belt that night, and I was the longest reigning PWF champion until John Schuyler beat me, and I think John Schuyler became the longest reigning. I think I had way more defenses than John Schuyler because I was defending it every month. I defended that belt in Florida. I defended that belt in other promotions. Yeah, that was a great experience because I look up to Steve. I think he's an awesome mind. then I was able to know that he's a great guy, great father. So, I love his mom to death. And, that was a really cool year there for me. And the original plan was Steve obviously got hired by WWE at that point during my reign. And the night I dropped the title, it was like, do you want to drop it or do you want to keep it? But if you keep it, things are changing because Steve's not going to be here. We're not going to be able to pay you like Steve was and this and that and the other. And I said, I'll just drop it because I'm not going to come back, for nothing. And I just felt like they didn't want me to be the champion. But Steve told me one day we were at the airport, and I think we were flying to Florida together because I worked his show, and then I think we flew to Florida. I worked Steve and Colby in a cage, me and Frankie.
I remember that. I remember that.
And we were at the airport, and he said his goal was to keep it on me for 2 years. That was his goal. But after he got hired and everything happened, so I was almost made a year, and we dropped it. But that was a cool experience, and I got to work some really good guys like John Schuyler, Colby Corino,
C-Dub.
Breton. What's that?
C-Dub, CW.
The CW match was one of my favorite matches. It's on YouTube. It's one of my favorite matches.
You also worked another young guy who's kind of making a little noise now with Ring of Honor. He did the gimmick Kabuki Knee at that point, but Wheeler Yuta.
That was a good match too. I liked that match. That was a fun match.
That was an interesting gimmick for him. I think that's the only time. That might be the only time I ever saw him do that particular gimmick. I know he was bouncing around with different gimmicks at that period of his life, and now he's kind of settling into the Wheeler Yuta thing. He did some MLW. Now he's doing Ring of Honor, and he's a good kid.
Yeah, that was a good match. Yeah, that was a good time working for Steve and those guys and Rob. Rob's a great dude too, and I really enjoyed working with them. And just did ran its course, and that was it. It's funny because I talked to Sean, the referee, Pittman, yesterday. So Steve used to make the banners. He has these big giant banners in the arena of the champions. So when I showed up one night, there was my banner hanging up, and you're talking. There's a Steve Corino, a C.W. Anderson. There was like a Kid Cash banner, and then there's Anthony Jannazzo,
Shinya Hashimoto banner.
Right. And then there's my banner, and I'm like I'm marked out inside. I was like, oh, this is so cool. I texted Sean yesterday and said, where's my banner? Do you guys use it still? And he said, Jake said they're going to use it in the new building that they're going to. And I said, really? I said, well, when you're not using it, I want it. I want to put it in my garage. And he said, well, Jake said we're going to use it. And I was like, if you're going to use it, use it. I mean, but at some point, I want that damn banner to put in my garage.
I love the Corino family, and I talk about Corino on every episode. I don't care who it is. We can be interviewing.
Oh yeah,
I work it in somehow, and I talked to his parents recently, and I saw Colby about a month or two ago. I saw Colby. He looks great, dude. I know Colby's had his struggles, but he's looking good, man.
Good.
Yeah.
I never met Steve, but I did get a chance to sit front row to see him and Dusty Rhodes in a bull rope match at the ECW in Danbury, Connecticut, and that was quite the match. That was lovely. It was awesome. So
I don't know if word. I don't know. If
maybe the opposite of lovely, but as like a kid growing up in the '80s, loving Dusty Rhodes, and then getting to ECW was pretty hot at that time period. So it was pretty awesome. It was a great feud. I loved that feud actually.
That was a really great feud, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, and through that, obviously, Dusty and Steve built a bond that went beyond ECW, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, and even Dusty may have been instrumental in getting Steve his WCW contract that we never saw him work a day with. But, Rick, speaking of legends, did you know that Mr. Jannazzo was once a contender for the AWA? Maybe not the version you're thinking of.
Is this the AWA All-Stars?
Larry Zbyszko for it?
I wrestled Larry 3 or 4 times that year.
Was this when Dale Gagne brought the AWA back? Do you know what I'm talking about?
This was Larry just working shows.
Walking. Really? I didn't know it.
story though. I do. I got a funny story. So
I didn't know that. That he
Yeah.
just went around the Indies with the belt. Okay.
but I got a funny Larry story. First of all, the first night they were like, "You're gonna work Larry Zbyszko." I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like Larry Zbyszko.
Yeah.
Wow. So we it was a singles match, and he tells me beforehand. He says, he don't want to call anything. We're just gonna just go at it, and I'm okay with that because I don't like I can't remember anything. So I was like, okay, cool. So he goes, just one rule: don't touch the hair. I just got a new piece. Okay. So we get in the ring, and 10 minutes go by. We've not touched each other one time. It's just we're jacking. We go to lock up. He backs up, and we're just playing with the crowd. 15 minutes go by. Nothing's happening. He kicks me in the stomach. He gives me the pile driver. 1, 2, 3. The match is over. 15 minutes. We touched each other. He kicked me. He pile driver me. We were done. And it was great. The place thought it was the greatest thing. The second time we worked, it was a tag match. So at one point, I get him in the corner, and I'm punching, and he's going, watch the hair, because it would come off. So, and I'm punching, and I'm laughing because he's like, oh, the hair. So
That's funny.
It's me and Johnny Vandal against Larry, and I don't remember who. And Larry says, hey, let's rib Johnny Vandal. Johnny was young. I said, okay, what are we going to do? He goes, we're going to do this whole spot. We'll peel out, I'm going to go like I'm going to do a dive. But I'll never dive. But we'll tell him that I'm going to dive. He goes, you just step out of the way. So we do the whole spot. We're outside the ring. And Johnny looks at me and he goes, is he going to dive? I said, this is the dive spot. Yeah. Larry hits the ropes. I peel out. I move out. And Larry stops at the ropes. And Johnny's like this with his hands in the air like he's going to catch Larry. And Larry goes, you really thought I was going to dive, you idiot? And the whole place erupts. And Johnny's standing there with his hands in the air ready to catch Larry Zbyszko like he was going to do a suicide dive. Great.
Wow. That's
I worked
funny.
him like 4 times that year, and it was awesome. I mean, I took the pile driver. Like, it was awesome.
How were the paydays? Was he paying you pretty well?
I mean, it's funny because I was living in Orlando at the time, and that's where the shows were, and he was living there. They took care of me, but like I got to hang out with him a couple times too, so it was kind of cool. Like, I used to go to the wrestling school, and he was there too all the time. So it was, like it was just Larry. Larry was Larry. It was normal.
What was his kid, Tim Zbyszko, around at all at that time, or no?
Not at that time. No, later on though. I worked
Okay.
some around. I never worked him though.
Oh, you never worked him? Okay.
No, but yeah.
He's in South Carolina. I think he's in Myrtle Beach right now.
He's in Myrtle Beach, right. Yep. Yeah. So, yeah, good times. I mean, I had great times in wrestling, but I think my time is done in the ring. I think about taking a bump, and it makes me sick. Like, I don't want to do that. I'm 40 years old.
That's still young.
You're a baby.
That's still young. Look at the Rumble. We were talking about the Rumble. Some of
Right.
those guys were what? Edge is 47 years old.
Yeah.
So
Look at Jericho.
yeah, he just turned 50, and he's doing some pretty impressive stuff for his age. I mean,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Hey, real quick, before we wrap things up, I just wanted to throw a little plug and a shout out. I know this is kind of random. Just got this new book in the mail. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Show.
Candido.
Shout out to Johnny Candido. Look forward to talking to him soon. Excellent book so far. Chris Candido was definitely one of the unsung heroes of the 90s wrestling scene. Or, any thoughts on him, AJ?
I always loved him. I thought he was fantastic in the ring. Like, I thought he was just the way he, forget about the wrestling part, it was everything else. Like, the way he talked, carried himself, the way he looked, like, that was a badass dude. Yeah, I loved all those guys from ECW, but, we're talking about today's guys and old guys. This is how I put it. There was men used to be wrestlers. They were men, right?
Yeah.
They were larger than life. I became a fan of wrestling because as a kid, to me, these were super larger than life men. Now, my son is 16 years old and he's bigger than Ricochet. So how can he, and I'm not taking a shot at Ricochet, he's incredibly athletic, but I could name 10 other guys. but my 16-year-old son, he can't look at those guys and go, he's larger than life. He looks at him and goes, I'm the same size or bigger than him, and I'm 16. Like, I think that's, it's
Right.
It's hard to get that feeling,
By the way, when I was stalking, sorry, not stalking.
Let's go with stalking.
A little bit, researching you a little bit further today, and I know you pretty well, but I wanted to get some specifics and details. I saw one website had you listed as 6'1". There's no way, dude.
No way. You're looking. I'm not even 6 foot.
That's what I'm saying.
No. I used to be 6 foot. I think I shrunk.
and you want to talk about larger than life. When I remember seeing pictures of this guy and the big Slambino, and I was like, man, this guy's going to be a freaking beast when I see him at the Corino show. And I'm like, dude, he's what, about 5'10", 5'11", But hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. It's cool. He also doesn't weigh as much as I do, so we ain't going to go there though. But no, Rick, did you have you had a little book that you're reading these days too, don't you?
I am reading a book. Currently reading. This is Lance by Chance. It's the biography on Lance Von Erich.
Oh.
And if you know the story of Lance Von Erich and why people despise the Lance Von Erich gimmick, you will find it very interesting. It's he doesn't get enough credit for being like the talented wrestler that he actually was, because it was just a replacement and he wasn't actually a Von Erich, but it's actually a very quite interesting book. And
I may have a book for you guys. Hold on. Let me go look.
All right, cool.
Hold on.
Don't bring any porn.
Probably a freaking cookbook or something, or a Waffle House.
A nudie magazine.
It's gonna be a Waffle House cookbook, or how to do your man bun. Or something.
It was Howard Brody's book, but I don't know where it is.
Oh, I didn't know he had a book out. That's awesome. Actually, wait.
I would say he talks about, because he was with the NWA.
Yeah, that's how I know him. Yeah,
book. It's interesting.
I'm gonna look for that now that we'll get out of here and go buy it.
Bookcase, but
one more question for you. You mentioned, that's right, the NWA. Was it during his time period that the Sheik won the title, and were you involved in the promotion at the time? Does that sound familiar?
So, yeah, and that was a shit show. The whole thing.
That was a dude, Joseph Samael from MLW. Now he's still around,
right. And he was the market. He was part of the Market Crashers. I worked him in 2001. I bet the Vandals worked the Market Crashers 30 to 50 times that year.
Just for people who don't know, who were the Market Crashers?
So it was Joseph, whatever his name is now. I don't know his name.
Joseph Samael. Yeah,
and his partner was I don't remember what his work name was. John something, I don't remember. But
that guy, John something,
yeah, whatever, I don't remember. But they were the Market Crashers. I don't remember half the stuff that happened in my wrestling career. So too many hits in the head.
The fans don't either, so it's all right. The fans don't remember either.
They probably
according to
half of it. So
according to McMahon, the fans don't remember anything. That's why gimmicks change so quickly and all that. The storylines move so fast.
Wrong. I think people will remember the gimmick more than the match.
Yeah.
That's why they're bringing back guys from 20 years ago to get ratings. But no, my point, Rick, is it's not wrestling in general. It's just AJ's matches. If you ever saw one, you want to
sleep. Right. If you have trouble sleeping tonight, turn my YouTube on.
I'm going to check out the podcast now that you put it over to me. I'm interested in hearing it.
But contrary to that, don't put his TikTok on. That'll keep you up all night.
You may. No, that's for the ladies.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Our demographic swings kind of... Yeah, anyway, never mind. But
I got about a 70-30. 70% women, 30% men that follow me on TikTok. So...
There's a lot of wrestling fans who live in their parents' basement who have never touched a girl, so they might want to try something different. I don't know.
But listen to the podcast.
Oh, my God.
My podcast is absolutely ridiculous because we don't have format. We literally start, and whatever we start talking about, it just takes... I never have notes. That's the guy that I do it with. It's like, you have notes today? I was like, I don't have notes. No. Like, why do we need notes? Notes are fake.
I write stuff down, and and it doesn't get talked about anyway, so I don't even know why. I just did to remind me of what I wanted to say.
Right.
But it still does. It still goes out the window. So.
You know how accomplished this guy is? I got a whole page of notes on AJ here. Okay, that's how accomplished.
There you go.
And that was only in about 10 minutes. But well, who else is on the Briz Pliz podcast with you? Because you're not putting them over. Put over your Briz Pliz mate.
His name is Ben. We call him Grumpy Ben because he's always grumpy.
Ben Temples.
Ben Temples, Grumpy Ben. Me and him run the Breakfast Club podcast and merchandise. That's our deal. Blake is part of the Breakfast Club, but Blake is too busy to help us with anything, so we just we do it without him. So so it's that's who's the Breakfast Club, and we sell merchandise, we do podcasts, and that's what we do.
And again, where can we find that at again? Give us one more shot with the website.
BrizCliz.com. BRIZCLIZ.com.
All right. On that note,
have a donut. I'm on a diet, so I won't be eating any donuts.
I should be, but All right, everybody.
The salad.
All right, guys, I appreciate it.
Thank you.